Everybody, it's Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots, and I'm here with Andrew Lee. Bro, Andrew Lee, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm good, guys. So we have a big announcement for WrestleMania week. I don't think you know this announcement, Andrew Lee, bro. But
No, I do.
fucking, as you guys know or may not know, I'm partnering with the Laps Fan podcast, and we are putting on a show Sunday at noon, April 7th at noon at WrestleMania Sunday. We're going to be doing the Laps Fan brunch show at Punchline in Philly, and tickets are on sale for that. But the other big show I'm putting on is Friday night, April 5th, 11:30 p.m. at the right next door to the ECW arena. Literally, it's connected. It's part of the same building as the ECW arena. We're doing the big ass Extreme Comedy Bash. It's going to be a comedy show that pays tribute to the Extreme. Um, and the great thing is, Andrew, is that they're having a ECW reunion show at 8 o'clock. So as soon as that show's over, if the fans want, they can come next door and see the comedy show. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And so comics can only do their dirtiest, most extreme material. You can't do anything clean. If you do clean, you're banned. What do you think?
Am I on this show?
But
Am I on this show?
yeah, fuck it. Who cares? Yeah, you're on the show. What do you think?
That's pretty dope. You had, I know, yeah, this is actually my first time hearing this. You, but I did know you had something like this in the works. So congrats on finally getting this
Yeah,
going.
I meant to talk to you about it, but I figured I'll announce it on the podcast or if the podcast.
No, that's fine. Yeah, no, I remember you were mentioning this to me. I'm sad. I'm so glad you were able to get past all that red tape and shit and get this done.
Well, it's a pole dancing studio, but I did a Zoom call with them. They're literally connected to the ECW arena. They're like right next to it.
It's a
And,
pole dancing studio. So will there be pole on the stage?
no, yeah, maybe maybe we'll have some female Asian comic recreate Kimono Wanalena dancing on top of the ECW arena.
Yes, maybe. Let me
Maybe
ask you a question. Which one are you more excited for? The comedy show, the Laps fan thing, which you did last year, which was success, or WrestleMania night one or night two?
I'm more excited for the things I'm doing, but I'm probably gonna go to WrestleMania now that I'm there. Listen, I'll say this: they gotta have Cody win. Every of the matches, everything besides The Rock and Cody doesn't look that interesting. Let's be really honest here. Like,
No,
uh,
I disagree. I disagree.
what do you think looks
They
good?
might do Jimmy versus Jay. I think that would be kind
Well,
of
that'll
dope.
be good. But again, that's Roman. That's Roman and Cody related. I would say. I would argue.
Okay, fine. I think Bailey versus Io Shirai would be good
That would have been
because
good. That
number
would have been
one,
good if what's her tits didn't go to AEW. Yeah, that would have been good.
no, that's still gonna be good. That's still gonna be good. We should talk about that later, by the way.
Oh, we're gonna
What's
we're
her?
gonna we're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. But Bailey versus number one, Io Shirai, Bailey, they can both work, and this is gonna be Bailey's WrestleMania first real big WrestleMania moment. So you know it's gonna be they're gonna go all out for
I
her.
honestly think it should main event night one. I think night one should start with the Rock's match, and
No, not start. I don't know about starting.
or maybe be in the middle. But I think Bailey should close night one. I do.
That's a good point. What about Rhea Ripley versus Becky? That looks kind of interesting too.
I don't
Because
know.
who
I
do you
don't
think is
know.
gonna win? It's not as easy to call as you think.
No, it's not even about the calling. I don't know if that's gonna be a good match.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't feel like they're gonna have good chemistry. I don't know. I
Oh,
mean, they got to do it.
um,
It's been years in the making, and they have to do it. But I don't know. I have a weird feeling about that match. I think they should do. I think they should do Tiffany Stratton versus Bianca. I think if they do that match, that'll be the match of the night. And I think they should do. Naomi should get a tag partner and take on us, the Kabuki Warriors. Maybe Naomi and I don't even know. Shit,
I
Maxine.
think Naomi's actually gonna be bad in a match. She's just not good in the ring. I'm also interested in I think even though you're right, I'm not interested in this so much, but Gunther versus
It
Sami
should have
Zayn
been. It
will
should have
still
been
be
Chad
good.
Gable. It should have been. You know what I would have done is this because I
Yeah.
think it's not fair that Drew doesn't have a match on night one. I would have had like Drew like really do something against Sammy and Adam Pierce be like, all right, Drew, it's not fair that Seth has to fucking fight The Rock and Roman night one and you just sit on your fucking fat ass. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have you wrestle Sammy in night one. If you win, that's it. Sammy, thanks for coming to WrestleMania. But if you lose, it's now a three-way on night two.
You know what though? They might still do that. There's still plenty of time.
I know. I just think it should be. I think it should be Gunther versus Chad
Yeah.
Gable. I think that's the Mania match.
I'm also interested in the 6 tag team ladder match. I think that should be fun too.
We'll see. We'll see. I kind of feel like they had like 4 great stories going into WrestleMania, and they're all just throwing people in multi-man matches for the rest of the show. So, you know, but we'll see. It'll be interesting. I'm gonna be there. I think though the legacy of WrestleMania 40 will be what they do with Cody. If they do Cody right, I think people are gonna love this WrestleMania. If they do the Cody thing wrong, don't no one gives a fuck about Hulk Hogan's record. Don't break Hulk Hogan's record. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter to anybody. You know? So funny, Kurt Angle. I was listening to the Laps Fan podcast, and they were reviewing TNA 2012. And Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan goes, if Bobby Lashley wins his next match, he's gonna be the longest reigning TNA champion. And Kurt Angle goes, what does that mean? Kurt Angle goes, what does that mean? Does that get him anything? And Hogan goes, well, no, brother. And he goes like, I think it matters how many times you win belts. I've won all the belts. I've won all the belts here, all the belts in WWE. This fucking guy just held the belt for like 7. Who cares that he held the belt this long? Like, what does that matter? And like, it was kind of like burying the show with Kurt Angle's promo, but I'm like, yeah, they should play that clip to everyone who thinks Roman Reigns should just keep the belt until he beats all the fucking records. Who cares?
Yeah, and I know people who are wrestling fans or who are gonna listen to this take is probably gonna get mad at me. We should talk about something about that as well. But it's also not real.
Yeah,
Like, I personally don't get like it's not real, guys. It's not real. Like, these people are holding that title that long because someone is deciding
yeah,
that they hold it that long. Superstar Billy Graham, right? The whole thing was like he kept having all these sellouts at Madison Square Garden. Business was great with him, but they took the belt off of him not because he did poorly or underperformed. It was because it was just part of the storyline to take it. It was at that time done for them to take the belt off of him, right?
mhm,
So it's not an how long he held the belt is not an indictment on how good he was as a wrestler performer. So if you keep that in mind, none of this shit really matters.
yeah.
Hogan held the belt as long as he did because that's how long as he held it for.
But that's also how
Bob
business was
Backlund was
done.
the second longest reigning WWF champion, right?
Yeah,
Hit the second longest. People barely fucking talk about him,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like it's not real, guys. Get over it.
And
You
also
know?
that's how the business was run back then. I think if they
Yeah.
started hot shotting title switches in the 70s in the MSG, people would have lost interest.
Yeah.
Um, so it was just done differently, which is why these guys held the belts for so long. And it was done differently in the 80s. Once you got to like WrestleMania 4 or 5, everything changes. And like if Macho Man held the belt from like 80, no, who won the belt in 91? Undertaker. No. Okay, Ultimate Warrior. Can you imagine how boring? I mean, it already sucks. How boring WWF would have been by WrestleMania 10 if Warrior still had the belt. If Warrior never loses, because Warrior wins it around the same time that Roman Reigns wins the belt in 2020, right? So that's
Yeah. Uh-huh.
it's like Warrior just never loses the belt. Like he just keeps the belt. He just keeps beating everybody. He makes Hogan look like an idiot. He makes Slaughter, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Jake the Snake. Everyone looks like a fucking idiot to the Warrior. I don't know. It would have been a boring. Royal Rumble 91 is one of my favorite memories because I did not expect Warrior to lose. And Slaughter is not a good wrestler, but that was a good call, I think. I mean, like looking back, me and my friends enjoyed it. You know?
Yeah. And actually speaking about enjoying, there's another thing I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, some people were a little upset about our WrestleMania 10 review.
Well, we didn't
Or
review
nine,
it yet,
no,
so they're
nine.
going to be really upset when it comes out. You talking about 9?
Yeah, nine reviews. You see that?
I didn't
I
see
mean,
it.
they're cool about it. I like it. By the way, first off, I want to thank the people who responded to that. even if you disagree with what we're saying, the fact that you are even listening, I appreciate that. And everybody's allowed to have their wrestling opinions, and we love discussing wrestling. Um, but they did not like the fact that you, Ray, is not really what I said. It's really what you said. That you called it a glorified house show.
Oh, who got mad at me about that?
Somebody, a listener, yeah, he was like, "How dare you call that?" But he's a Hulkamaniac. He is a Hulkamaniac. But sounds like a cool dude. That
Let me
guy.
look it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, it was WrestleMania 9, and he was like, "How do you call it that? Like a house show?" And like where I'm gonna stand by that it wasn't a good pay per view. There was like I believe 3 matches that had like DQ
Oh, it wasn't a good
finishes.
thing,
Yeah, it really wasn't that good of a pay per view. And
and I blame you.
one of the points he was making about
Oh,
WrestleMania
wow, we
9.
did have a lot of comments. We do have a lot of comments.
Yeah, yeah, uh huh. Unlike you, I care about our listeners.
Well, Steve P says it's the worst WrestleMania ever, and this guy is very upset. Not even close.
Yeah. By
Yeah,
the way, though, up to this point, I think it could be the like. Remember, if we're just going based on WrestleManias 1 through 9, right? I think this might be up there. The tournament one was worse. Like I said, the tournament one they had was worst one. This one is second. This is, to my opinion, from WrestleMania 1 through 9. Which one was the tournament WrestleMania? Was that WrestleMania 4?
Um, WrestleMania 4 is a tournament. Yes.
Yeah, okay. WrestleMania 4 is the worst one, in my opinion, so far. And then, but WrestleMania 9 is pretty much right after that.
Yeah, WrestleMania. I still think WrestleMania 9's like worse because I thought WrestleMania 4, the finish, at least the finish sets up a big storyline. 9 just sets up a bunch of nonsense.
Kind of, yeah. But anyways, thank you for listening. And if you have an opinion, let
Leave,
us
leave
know.
it.
Keep commenting. Let us know if you
Yeah, we
disagree
are
with
getting
anything
we
we
are
said.
our fan base is a lot more passionate
Yeah,
right now, which is good. I'd rather have 200 passionate fans than 9 million people who don't give a shit.
exactly. Absolutely. Now, you
Uh,
wanted to talk about.
Sasha Banks or Mercedes Monet. Did you watch her
Yeah,
debut last night, folks? We're recording this on Thursday, the 14th of March. Mercedes Monet, whatever the fuck, Monet,
Mercedes Monet. You got it right. Yeah.
Mercedes Monet. Hey, brew. She debuted on Dynamite. Did you watch it?
I saw it on YouTube that
Okay,
Mercedes Monet, she kind of comes out with a new theme. It's that same theme that Gunther uses. I think it's like an actual real.
it's
Obviously,
a
it's a
public
brand new
domain.
one.
Yeah, anyone
Yeah,
can.
but they like turn it into like a pop kind of version of it, and she now, instead of saying calling herself the boss, which I think is trademarked by WWE, she has to call herself or refer to herself as CEO. That part I kind of don't like. I think it's kind of cheesy,
I
but
didn't like
good
the I don't like the
for.
fact that the theme has the CEO chant in it. I think
Yeah,
it's
I just don't like it. It just sounds so cheesy. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of like if like somebody used to have a gimmick in WWF, and then when they would come to WCW, it was the same gimmick but under a different kind of name.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about when they do
You
stuff
know
like
what it
that?
was like when I heard the CEO chants are in the song? It's like if Kurt Angle went to TNA and they put "You Suck" in the song. Like, they had it to a beat, "You suck,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
exactly. They
suck."
did
It's
it. That
like,
was just that was organic. The "You Suck" was organic,
"You
which is
suck" was
cool.
organic, but it would be like if now
Yes.
we're gonna put it in the song and we're gonna make it, and I don't know if you noticed, but they have, like, multiple voices doing CEO, so it sounds like people are chanting it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like that. That part
Yeah,
is kind
kinda
of
like
cheesy.
it's very disingenuous, that part, yes.
Yes. Yeah, I don't like it. However, I will say this: ever since they got rid of this stupid MJF Devil storyline, I think the show has gotten better. I like that they signed Okada, Will Ospreay, and Monet. I think we're going back to the renaissance of it getting AEW getting good again. Somebody told me, I was talking to somebody today, that they got a new writing team. Is that why?
Well, they hired Sasha Banks' personal writer to be like
Oh, that's right. That lady. Uh-huh.
I, yeah, so I haven't watched the shows, but you've been watching the whole shows, you like them better lately?
I've been following up with everything they're doing, and it just sounds better. It just like some of the matches are better. There's no more, there's a little less there's just more of a that excitement again where I'm like, I can't believe I gotta tune in to see what's gonna happen situation, you know?
Alright, that's fair.
Yeah,
I
so
kinda thought her introduction, it felt very derivative of what they did with Punk, and I didn't think it was bad, I didn't think it was good, I kinda felt it was kinda sad because, like,
sad.
yeah, there was a sadness about it, because it's like, I just like Tony Khan always kinda acts like, I'm gonna like, it just felt like she's the answer to our problems, and I think she's gonna, like, lead to a bunch of new problems, and, it was kinda sad, like, they were, like, trying to recreate, August 2021, and to me, it's like, you can't recreate that, you had one chance at that, and, I don't know, I would've done it a little bit differently, but, it felt sad to me, the introduction of Mercedes Moné.
I guess we'll see. The jury's still out there, but it's still exciting times for AEW. Sasha,
How's the Acclaim doing? Did you see what Max Caster posted yesterday?
he posted something about somebody. Who was
Sammy
it?
Guevara, that he's a great guy.
Sammy Guevara. That he's a great guy.
Yeah. You know the story about him, but and he posted it yesterday, and you
For
know what
those of you guys who don't know, long time ago, this is before Sammy Guevara was ever in AEW. He was on a podcast, and they were talking about female wrestlers, and he said he had the hots for Sasha Banks, who is Mercedes Monet now in AEW, and he said he would like to rape her. Right
Yes.
now, when he said this, he was a nobody pretty much. And then it got kind of like brought back up when he was in AEW. Sammy did get in trouble for it, I believe. He got suspended for it
He got
originally when
suspended. I
they
think he had
found
to
out.
go to
And
sensitivity class.
he apologized to Sasha Banks now. And I think people are trying to bring that up again. Here's the thing.
Well, Max
You and
Caster
me,
posted it. It wasn't like people were bringing it up. He just posted, "Sammy Guevara is a great guy," like, at 5 o'clock, and it's like,
well, people have been kind of shitting on Sammy for the past couple of days now
yeah,
because he got suspended
timing
for hurting Jeff Hardy. Now this and everything. People are
the
bringing it back
timing to
up.
post that is, like, really, I think it's this is what I took from it. I think a lot of the guys that have been in AEW for a while, I think they're kind of annoyed at Tony because Tony's basically playing Dixie Carter game, where it's like, like I keep getting a new toy, and now this toy is the center of my attention. But then when I get bored of the toy goes on Rampage, the toy goes on. And the thing about guys like Sammy Guevara and the Acclaimed, they got over. They got over, and the ratings were up when they were the centerpiece of the show.
Yes.
And now the ratings are down, and then Tony just got bored of them, more so the Acclaim than Sammy Guevara, and Tony gets bored of them, and the ratings are down, and he's signing all these people, and the ratings are not going up. And I think if you're like a guy, if you're the Acclaimed, or if you're like some of these other guys who've been there, like a kid, like Kip, what's the guy's name? The Penelope Ford's boyfriend. If you're one of those people,
Kip Sabian
Kip, yeah, you're
or
like,
Kip whatever. That's his name too.
yeah, like, hey, when the ratings were good, we were hitting 1,000,000. I was like the star. I know, like I mean, in the scheme of things, I'm nobody, but I was one of the top guys when the show started. We were hitting 1,000,000 viewers. You just keep bringing in WWE guys, and the ratings don't go up; they go down. But yet, like, I don't even know where that fucking guy is, the Kit guy. I'm
To be
nowhere.
fair, these recent signings of three, only one of them is a WWE person.
But at the same time, it's like you're not paying attention. You don't need to keep signing people. You have the people. You have the roster, but you keep adding to the roster. Like you don't really need. I don't really think he needs these three people. Now, are
No,
they
but
going
you
to?
know what? That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah,
I think people, here's the thing: is it stupid to keep signing all these people and getting sick and tired of like losing interest in them and signing more people? Absolutely. But here's the thing:
that's what he does.
it's his dad's money. He can do whatever the fuck he wants with it. I am really not gonna complain anymore about that because it's like
But I could
he
see. I
doesn't
could see
care.
someone like Max Caster getting upset. I could see the
Yeah,
rest.
but you know what? Hey, like you know what? Everybody, there's parts of everyone's job that nobody likes. You know what? But he's getting paid really well for
I
it.
know,
Max Factor would be a nobody if it wasn't for Tony Khan signing him
but
in
at the same
AEW.
time, you could argue we could be making more money altogether if you kept focusing on us. You keep and when someone gets over, you fucking downplay them. And now
Absolutely.
and that's a problem
Absolutely.
for
You're
all
right
of
about
us.
that. You're right about that. But here's the thing. Tony Khan's not the only one who's guilty of that. Vince
Well,
McMahon Jr. went through that a shitloads of time. That's why CM Punk's infamous pipe bomb promo where he goes, he is a millionaire who should be a billionaire, but instead he's
because
just
it's
a
by himself.
millionaire because he's a fucking dumbass, right? Tony Khan, by the way, does not need more money. Yeah,
No.
people have to understand that. They go, oh, he could be maybe so much money. He didn't get into this to make money. He already had all the money in the world. If you are trying to make the argument that he could be making himself so much more money by doing X, Y, and Z, you're already wrong. He had
But I
all the
think
money.
I think the
He already has all the
wrestlers
money. He
I think
doesn't
the
care.
wrestlers see the dwindling attendance and they see
Oh
this
yeah,
guy not
of course.
caring. And I get it. It's his playpen. I get it. But like I think it's kind of demoralizing to be like, I'm like fucking putting my body like he probably expects you to fucking land on your head like an idiot every fucking night. I'm putting my life at risk every week, and this guy's not doing anything to help get more people in. He's just like sitting in the back, bringing in more people from New Japan and WWE, and fucking not paying less attention to me. Or like the minute I get over, he just takes me off TV for weeks for no fucking
Yeah,
reason.
and you know what? Like I said, you okay? Here's the thing. Yes, as a wrestler, you have every right to be demoralized by that and like be disheartened by that, and also get disheartened by the dwindling attendance. But here's the thing: everybody, there's aspects of everyone's job that's not fun. You're there now. He's giving you an opportunity. What I would recommend doing, and there's and people are already probably doing this. I don't think they're dumb enough to not even know. They know this just as much as I know this. Just be there while you're there. But then when contract time comes up,
Mhm.
right? I wouldn't be surprised if people start looking elsewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like guys like Max Caster. You know?
Well, yeah, well, like I think Frankie Kazarian made a smart move. I mean, I think he knew like this guy,
Yeah.
this guy doesn't pay attention. This guy's not going to keep paying attention to me anymore. He's already losing interest. So he went to TNA, where I'm sure he has a lot of influence in the back now as a vet, and he's like, I'm going to get here before everybody else is. I think he made the smart call because, like, let's face facts with Frank Kazarian. He's going nowhere in life, and you might as well be on the top of the card while going nowhere in
Well,
TNA.
he might be out of TNA as well. I don't know if you saw, but they got rid of a whole bunch of people now too.
Oh, when today?
No, I think recently, they removed from. It hasn't been 100% confirmed, but they removed off the roster page Bully Ray,
Okay, well that had to be done.
um, Johnny Swinger,
That's
right?
yeah.
They also got rid of what do you call it? I forget his name. It's Oleg something, but you guys might remember him in WWE as Vladimir Kozlov. He was also people don't
Yeah, I mean
realize this, but he was
that's also fine.
yeah, yeah. But if you see the pattern, if you see the pattern I'm mentioning, they're getting rid of a lot of old time. Frankie Kazarian is unfortunately he's also an old timer. People have to understand it. He's been around for a long time, Frankie Kazarian.
Well, he's wrestling tonight on Impact. He's fighting Ace
Yeah.
Austin.
So right now, okay, good for him. He's still there. But yeah, it looks like TNA is starting to clean house as well. And I can see that
Well, I mean,
happening.
I would get rid of Eddie Edwards first, second, and third. That's what I would get rid of.
And that might happen too. You never know. It's not done
He
yet.
just re-signed with them for years. So,
Yeah,
God, that
absolutely.
guy's him and Moose have the stench of failure, bro. I swear to God.
Now, well, speaking of old timers,
Yeah.
we got a pay-per-view filled with old timers that to discuss. Are you ready to discuss this, or do you have any more news that you want to go over first? Which I'm okay
No,
with.
I think that's it. I was very underwhelmed. I actually was gonna sit home and watch the whole episode, and then my friend she asked me to hang out, so I hung out with her. And after I got home at like 5, and I watched the little segment, and I was like, oh, I'm glad I didn't stay home for this. Like, I'm glad I'm watching this half asleep on my phone and then going to bed. Like, this was just like a CM Punk ripoff.
So we are talking about Slamboree 1993, and while I get what you're saying, but I will say this: I don't know if you feel the same way I do because I was watching this and I go, you know what? Even though this pay-per-view Slamboree 1993 really wasn't the best pay-per-view, wouldn't you admit that? from all the WCW pay-per-views that we've been watching, you've been seeing like a steadily like improvements on the show, right?
I
Like
mean,
they're
this
not as
show, I didn't enjoy this show. I loved the first match, but then all that legend shit, that show never recovered from that stretch, I thought.
yeah, okay, that's true, but this was like more like a themed show, so I'll
I
accept that.
you know, I think it's
That was the theme
because
though. It was like one of those old school Raws, but it's in a whole pay-per-view.
I know, but my thing was also I think you can do an old school Raw now because kids like my nephew knows who Hulk Hogan is. He knows who Vader is. They have Vader toys in the shelves. They have Hogan toys in the shelves. They're in the video games. He can go on Peacock and watch Hogan's whole fucking career if he feels like it, right? He can watch all the Vader matches. So when I pick Vader in the game, he's like Vader is still like kind of like this active presence in this 10-year-old kid's life, right? It's not like the who the fuck is this, right?
Yes.
But with this pay-per-view, because like all the old footage is so hard to find, I don't think the audience, I think, only really connected of all the old timers with Thunderbolt Patterson, who, by the way, is going in the Hall of Fame. I think they knew that back. That I think they were all from the future, and they're like, he's going to the Hall of Fame.
Wait,
Um,
this year?
yeah, he just got announced that he's going in the Hall of Fame. Vince
Wow.
McMahon didn't like him, so that was a big one that he's going in. He's still alive too. I thought he was dead. He's still alive.
Why didn't Vince McMahon like
He
Thunderbolt
tried
Patterson?
to. He fought for workers' rights. He would speak up and be like, some of this is bullshit. We need to like.
Oh, I can see how Vince McMahon
But
would be upset.
apparently, The Rock picked. If you know, looked at the class, apparently all these picks are The Rocks.
This looks, by the way, this is the first year where the Hall of Fame looks really, really good. Like
Well, it
I'm
looks like
okay
people
with
who
every
deserve
single
it.
pick.
It's not like it's not like who they think can draw. Like I feel like if Vince was still around, he'd be putting in, I don't know, like Becky Lynch in the Hall of Fame this year. You know what I mean? Like he
Yeah,
would
yeah,
just
no, that's what I'm saying. This actually looks it's like looking uh like a legit Hall of Fame
the fact
selection.
that Thunderbolt Patterson is gonna have like a real induction and like Luna Vachon and fucking Wahoo McDaniel. I think Vince started Legacy Wing so he could put in people without really putting them in. So it's like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
exactly.
Wahoo,
Mhm.
like he didn't have to like fucking acknowledge them. I don't think he wants to acknowledge a lot of the people that he put in that Legacy Wing, like Paul Bosch, Wahoo McDaniel, Luna Vachon. But he's like, no, they're in the Hall of Fame. They're in the Legacy Wing. They're in the fucking jerk off wing. And the fact that Thunderbolt Patterson is going to get a whole fucking ceremony and some of these other guys aren't is really funny to me. There was someone else really big he shoved in the Legacy Wing one year. I can't remember. It was a big,
Yeah, no, 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 dude. He shoved a lot of people in the legacy wing,
yeah,
like just like with no like anything
yeah.
that didn't belong like to be kind of treated like that. There's not just one person. I remember it was like a bunch. It was
I remember
like
there was like a bunch of names, and you're like, all these people are not going to get like. I kind of feel like Wahoo McDaniel's family deserves like a fucking 10 minutes.
yeah, I think Bruiser Brody, right?
Yes, Bruiser Brody got shoved in there. That's fucking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not just like one person that just shoved in there. Like, let me see who else. I have the names here. Bruiser Brody is one that you could have done something for 100%,
Yeah, his
right?
family deserves it.
Yeah, exactly. His family deserves it. I think you could have done something for like I don't know, like not Buddy Rose. I guess yeah, Playboy Buddy Rose.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
deserves
it's
something.
just like yeah, exactly. I was like, why he was just shoved in there, like, and
I'm not
he's
saying
not
like you
even
do like
that.
it.
He's
I'm
not
not saying
even
like
Buddy
his
Rose is
fucking.
not even that old. He was like,
Well,
it's
he's
like he
dead.
was
He's
in the
dead. He's dead.
80s. No, I mean, no. I mean, what I mean by that, I know he's dead. I know he
Yeah,
passed away, but what I mean is, it's not even that old. Like he was on WWE TV, FTV in like the 80s.
yeah.
You
Um,
know?
but like what like and again, I'm not saying like Playboy Buddy Rose should get like an hour dedicated to him at a Hall of Fame, but like why can't like he get like 10 minutes? Like the person who inducts him gets a 5 minute speech, and like his fucking family gets a 5 minute speech. You know?
Luna Vachon.
That's another one who deserves like she deserves like a whole fucking thing. She deserves a special. She deserves an action figure. She should be in the games. Like I don't understand. Like, all right, she was a fucking pain in the ass. So was Shawn Michaels. You fucking blow him every 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Uh-huh. I think it's a slap in the face of everyone, including the fans. Because I'm a big Luna Vachon fan, and I think it's a slap in the face that she's shoved into a legacy wing of the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
What I think they should do, and this is what I would do, I would say this year, Legacy Wing is invalid. You're not in the Hall of Fame. We are gonna re-put some people in and give them special ceremonies at a later time. And then like next time they're in Texas, because I think Bruiser Brody's from there, that's when you fucking induct Bruiser Brody. And you have his fucking grandkids, whoever's like his like child, his son or his daughter, come up and talk. And I think that's really cathartic. Unless the only thing I can see why I don't want to give a ceremony to Bruiser Brody is Puerto Rico is going to fucking firebomb Vince's house if they do that. I don't know. Maybe Puerto Rico's like, hola, Vince, we love you. We never do nothing to you. But if you fucking put Bruiser Brody in the Hall of Fame, we're going to get you. We have the tapes of you pooping on Carlos Colon.
Uh, they
Like
should
the,
get the
like the
they should get
moment,
in, they should get Invader One to induct.
the moment. The moment Bruiser Brody's son goes on stage, a fucking tape, the TV cuts out. It's Vince pooping on Zelina Vega.
But speaking of the legend, that's what the show is. Slamboree 93. It is a Legends reunion. This pay-per-view tagline is one moment, one ring, one mega event. Takes place May 23rd, 1993 at the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia. Over 7,000 people are in attendance. It is called the intro graphic lets us know this is a Legends reunion celebrating the legends of the past. And it's not just WCW NWA past, but also they're going to have AWA. It's just like wrestling's past that they are celebrating in this paper. Okay.
Yes.
As soon as the show opens up, we got a whole bunch of old people in the ring. We got all these legends in the ring, like Vern Gagne, Dory Funk, Mr. Wrestling 2, Ox Baker, Nick Bockwinkel, all standing there. Tony Schiavone, he is with Larry Zbyszko, and they welcome us, and they go over the card, and they tell us that Jesse Ventura is actually in the hospital right now. That's why he's not in commentary. Then they get Max Payne.
He heard he had to do commentary on a fucking Nick Bockwinkel, Dory Funk Jr. draw, and he just fucking shot himself.
Yeah, he really, yeah, he was like, I don't want to be surrounded by all those old timers, and just like, I got a hangnail, I'm not showing up to work. Um, Max Payne and his guitar, his electric guitar, Norma Jean, they play a rock song. This time it's not the national anthem. They're just playing a rock song, and these big ass buff dudes start carrying out this gold Chinese bride transportation box thing. You guys, you know what I'm talking about? Those things where they used to move around the Chinine brides, right?
Yeah.
People carry around. And I'm like, yo, who could be in this gold box? And I'm thinking it's like, I don't know, Ric Flair. It'd be weird if it was Ric Flair because he's still wrestling, but maybe it would be like, I don't know.
Dalton Castle as a child.
Yeah, you're thinking somebody really big. And up pops out Fabulous Moolah. I was like, oh my God. Why did
What?
they go all out like this for Fabulous Moolah?
Dude, everyone went all out. I mean, like I think she knew a lot of stuff about a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's why Vince, like, I remember like Moolah did something to Sherry, and Vince was basically like, you have to go change in the hotel room. I can't go against Moolah. This is like in '87. Like, but she's like, you're Vince. Like, you can't. No, I can't go against Moolah. You have to. Like, I can never go against her. She must have known. I could see, dude. What if we find out that like she had like a group of girls that were just for like Vince or just for like Jim Crockett or David Crockett, and they went and did whatever, allegedly they went and did whatever they wanted to these girls, and that's why, like, I just don't understand why this woman gets this big treatment like this on this pay-per-view. She never was in WCW, she never goes back to WCW, she means nothing to anyone in this building, and they treat her like fucking god. I don't understand it. It was really creepy and weird.
Well, if you watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode about her, a
Mhm.
lot of the female wrestlers, they were like, she was basically kind of like an like talent agency. That's what Moolah
Yeah,
was. If you
yeah.
trained with her, you were like under her branch of agency. So like she'll train you, but then she would do all your booking, and she
Mhm.
would get a percentage of it. And a lot of the things that the talent accused her of was that she would sometimes send them somewhere, like a female wrestler A. Oh, by the way, I need you to go do this. It's for a photo shoot, and she would go there, and it would be like a pervy dude trying to rape her,
Yeah.
right? Or like
No,
say
I know all that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
take
But
off
what I'm
all your
saying,
clothes, take pictures of, and if you complained about that, she blacklisted you.
yes, and everyone listened to her. Everyone fell in line with her. Um, but my thing is like, like sometimes they go. But you heard the fucking everyone thought the John Cena being naked on stage of the Oscars was like a humiliation ritual for
Yeah,
Hollywood's.
put on the dress.
Yeah, I
Situation.
kind of feel like Mula making them do this for her was like this was like the real version of like some Illuminati shit happening live on TV. Like she called up someone and was like, I'm gonna reveal some shit unless you give me this little entrance at the pay-per-view. You have to pay tribute to me. So because they had to hire all these fucking guys. They had to build this fucking thing for this woman to just to walk out. This felt like a real
You
life
don't see her
Illuminati.
again. You don't see
What?
her again with the
You
show.
don't see her again. This felt like a real life Illuminati. We're shoving in your face. This woman controls more than you fucking know, and we're all gonna pay tribute to her and then have our little fucking show. It was really weird. It was really weird. And knowing what we know now, and knowing what I think we're gonna know, it's gonna wind up being weirder when we look back in a few in like a year or two.
Yeah. I think one of the things Junior could do is if he could throw Mula under the bus, it could take some heat off of him. You know?
For some reason he won't. I don't think he ever will. There's
Yeah.
something that we don't know that Mula knows that we don't know, but she knows something. He was afraid of her, and so was Bruce Pritchard, by the way. Bruce Pritchard won't go against her either. She's been dead now for years. On the
Yeah.
podcast, he kept defending her. The podcast was like only a few years ago, and Conrad was like, "You can't say anything bad about this woman. Like, really? Like,
It's crazy.
yeah, she
Anyway,
knows. She knows something."
you know something. Going from one terrible woman to one fantastic one, Eric Bischoff. He is with Missy Hyatt,
Yeah,
who's got a great new haircut. I won't lie, man. The more I watch these, the more I'm falling for her. She is gorgeous.
she's a great. Yeah, they should have done more with her. They really did her dirty. The
I
whole
mean,
business did her dirty.
they do work with her a lot. She's like on every pay per view too.
Yeah, but like they kind of like chase her out of the company at the end of the year, and Eric Bischoff says has nothing but negative things to say about her when they on his podcast. Like he talks about her like she's a piece of shit.
Oh, it's too bad, but she is gorgeous. Anyway, she's got a brand new haircut, and once again, like all WCW pay per views, she's excited for her interviews that she's gonna do.
Mhm.
It's always she's excited to do these interviews. I love that. I fucking love that. They talk about Sting. He's gonna be facing the prisoner as the lights go out in the arena, and Eric Bischoff has to acknowledge the technical difficulties.
Yeah, they get
But
they
that's
get thrown for a second.
sequel of a WCW pay per view, some kind of technical glitch. Dude, they have like some kind of technical problem like every fucking show.
Later on, you hear someone talk over the air. That's not like when Ric Flair's about to do his thing.
Yes.
You hear, hey, Bill, or something like. It's just
Yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Yes. It's just
I think in a few months this goes away. Once Bischoff gets more, you're gonna. I think as the more we watch this show, we're gonna have to give more and more credit to Bischoff because this stuff does go away.
yeah, like they're such it's just such a like they just do these things that are so like amateurish. And
Yeah,
here's the thing. They do it so often that now it's kind of become part of their charm.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, well, we're gonna make a mistake. There's a mistake right there.
Mhm.
We're gonna go to our first match, which was not a mistake. It is Bobby Eaton and Chris Benoit versus Two Cold Scorpio and Marcus Alexander Bagwell, who would go on to be known as Buff Bagwell. When I was a kid, I really liked this tag team. You know,
Say something.
I
As an
don't know.
adult, I really like this tag team.
Yeah, there's something about when I was a kid, I was really into the black guy, white guy tag teams. I just
Oh,
love
really?
that. Yeah, yeah. That's why I liked high energy with Owen Hart and Coco Beware, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a kid and I saw Two Cold Scorpio on Alexander Bagwell, I thought they were the coolest guys. They would dance a little bit in the ring, and I was like, yeah, yeah. I was like, those guys are awesome. I used to love that. The good dancing. They both danced really well before this match begins. Benoit and Too Cold Scorpio, who I think they had a great rivalry. They are starting the match. It's very fast. It's so fast I can't even call what they're doing. It's very fast. But Too Cold Scorpio, he's a little bit faster and he gets the best of Chris Benoit and Bobby Eaton. Marcus Alexander Bagwell, he body drops Bobby Eaton over the top rope, which Larry Zbyszko on commentary starts questioning. Isn't that a DQ? And Tony Schiavone has to cover for it, saying like, well, like you have to technically throw him over the top. That's not throwing over. That's a body drop. And you know what? Already, I fucking love these two guys on commentary. The way they analyze it, and you're gonna see it throughout the show. They treat it like it's a real thing. They don't just they acknowledge things, and they really do a great job explaining things. Great.
Zabisco's only good with Tony Schiavone. They have a good chemistry. He's never good with anyone else. But yeah, you're
Who,
right.
Larry Zbyszko?
Yeah.
I wonder why that
well with Schiavone.
Tony Schiavone, by the way, works well with a lot of people.
Yeah.
He
doesn't have an ego. He doesn't have an ego. He worked well with? You know who's a good team? And honestly, this is him and Jericho during the pandemic. Remember, it was just
no, they were very good.
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone with Jericho and the AEWs, they're great on commentary. Tony Schiavone was put in with Kevin Kelly, who has recently been fired from AEW because Kevin Kelly was so bad on commentary and Collision, they had to throw him in there, and it improved somewhat.
Yeah.
He's good with Jesse Ventura. Like Tony Schiavone is just he is like the best guy to have on commentary if you want trying to groom someone up to be a better commentator.
Yeah.
Anyway, Chris Benoit and Bobby Eaton, they start putting the heat on Bagwell until Benoit goes for a swan dive, but Bagwell gets his knees up, and Too Cold gets hot tagged in. All men are in the ring, and while Bobby Eaton and Bagwell fight, Too Cold Scorpion goes up to the top and hits what looks like a reverse flipping leg drop, but he lands right on Benoit's fucking face for the win. This was a great match, and also the beginning of Benoit's brain damage, which will cause all sorts of issues much later on in his career. I love this opening match. It was great. What did you think?
This was a great match, and it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard. I can already tell. We're getting a break. He leaves again, Benoit, and he doesn't come back for a while. But it's gonna be hard to talk about these pay-per-views without praising Benoit constantly. But man, is he fucking good. And I kind of think the biggest mistake this company made was starting the show with this match, because this match sets a precedence that they don't even try to follow. And by the time we get to another good match, the crowd is already fucking done.
They can't follow it. That's why.
You can't, but they this match, this is what wrestling was becoming. And to go all the way back to 1974 for the next few matches and try to do like that, I thought was a major mistake. And this match sets up the card so hot and sets the bar so high, because Scorpio, one of the most underrated, should have been a bigger star than what he was. Superstars of all time. Benoit, Benoit is he is just so much better than everyone currently in wrestling. He is everyone just feels like they're a shitty cover band of him. Whether it's Ospreay or Okada, something about Benoit. Besides the fact that he murders, there's something about this guy. There's something about Benoit that's when he does a move, it's exactly how it should be done. There's not even a margin of error. And even Bagwell, dude, watching the past few shows, Bagwell was becoming a really great worker in '93. I don't know what happened. I think he got his ego in the way, but man, this guy could have been something special. And then Bobby Eaton, when Bobby Eaton has guys who can work, he fucking shines. He's he's almost like an idiot Savin. He looks like he reeks of failure. But when you put him in the ring with people who can do high level wrestling, he rises to the task. So this was just a fantastic match, but it was a major mistake putting it this early.
I'm glad you mentioned all four, because I agree with you. All four really brought it. It wasn't just a two-guy thing. All four brought it. Well, how did you feel about that fucking ending where Too Cold just lands on his fucking head? He just That was devastating.
But you know what I liked about the ending? So Bobby Eaton grabs the ref, and the ref doesn't just get up and oh, the match is over. The ref just like well, you didn't touch me that much, and just finishes counting, gives the match to the good guys. Like, I feel like a lot of bookers would have had the ref just get up and be like, oh my god, he kind of touched me. Oh, this DQ. And but instead the ref is like, what the fuck? You're just a fucking idiot. 2-3. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not
Yeah.
stopping. I'm not stopping because you kind of touched me. And I kind of thought that was smart because the referee actually acted like a normal human being for once, not a
Mhm.
fucking
I
moron.
think refereeing has gotten worse over time.
Yes. Well, AEW, I don't even think they need a referee. I think they should just have. I think the referee should be outside on their phone, and when you pin the person, they just go on the mic 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Like,
I also think it's because they're also told to relax more. Like meaning
yeah,
like you gotta act stupid. Why? Because like they'll be like, hey, this is what's gonna happen. While
you know
you're
what?
distracted, some guy's gonna climb down the top rope and he's gotta hit a crazy move. So you gotta like really like not turn around for a long time. And they'll be like, but that's unrealistic. Why would turn around? No, no, just for the sake of this move, you just gotta act really stupid. I think that's
Dude, you
like
know
the
what?
refereeing has gotten worse, not just in only in AEW, it's gotten worse everywhere. And I
You know
think
what?
the
You know what?
reason why is because they're told they like you have to act extra dumb because this is what it is.
Dude, you know what refereeing made ruin the match for me was Osprey and Kenny Omega a few months ago. So the referee kicks out Don Callis. He makes a big fucking production of kicking out Don Callis, right? And then Don Callis just comes back later and is interfering. And the referee is just standing there watching this guy he told to leave come back. And then Osprey wins because Don Callis
Yeah.
kept interfering.
But here's the
And
thing. Yeah, keep going, keep going.
everyone gave that match 7 stars. And I'm like, that ruins the match. That ruin. So then why can't, if we don't have to listen to the referee, why can't Kenny Omega just pull out a fucking knife and stab fucking Will Ospreay? I won. This right,
Yeah,
I won. I stabbed him. He's dead. I won. I pinned him.
but here's the thing. That's why I think like that they're like I bet you if it was the referee's call, he would be like, yeah, and I would have to go like when he comes back down, I kick him out again or something. And they'd go like, no, 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 you just gotta act really, just let it go. Like
Then don't kick him out. Just let him.
exactly. But I think what I'm saying is wrestling storytelling in the ring has gotten worse, and they tell the referees you just have to act stupider. Like meaning you have to let like even though you kick this guy out, now you're gonna watch him intervene. You can't call it. You clearly know something's happening behind you, but you cannot turn around until that it's all done. Like shit like that. I think they're told to do. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
why
just
refereeing has gotten worse. Not because of the actual performers, the wrestlers themselves, but because the way wrestling is done now, the referees have to be bumbling idiots.
it's really
Um,
fucking. It's really. But anyway, but this referee was good. This was a good.
yeah, Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko they recap Colonel Parker and the Van Hammer issues that they've been having together, and it's going to lead to match number 2: Van Hammer, Heavy Metal Van Hammer versus whoever. We don't know actually yet. We don't know yet. Colonel Parker comes out and he starts insulting Hammer, and he starts bringing out a gurney and goes, "Oh, this next guy, man, I'm bringing out a gurney because we're gonna need one after this guy." And he introduces and re-welcomes Sid Vicious back into WCW. He gets a great reaction. This is basically a squash match. Sid just hits a power bomb for the quick victory. Everyone's excited. Everyone's happy that Sid Vicious is back. Um, I like that they did this on a paper. I did. I
I
won't lie.
liked it. My only problem is though with this is that they were trying to get Van. This is my problem with this kind of angle is that they're trying to get Hammer over as a face. So Van Hammer kind of sticks up for himself with this evil referee who, even at 92, 93, his gimmick is like so fucking 70s. You know what I mean? Every now and then WCW have a gimmick that's like so fucking cheesy. And I never liked this Robert Parker character, by the way. Also, he's like way too big. He's like the size of Billy Gunn, and he's like supposed to be a manager, you know? So, and you heard the story. It's like he kind of stands up for himself. It's like, I'm not gonna, you can't buy
Yeah,
me, right?
the Tennessee Stud. I
So
believe
he
that's what
goes
it's
like, I'm
called.
gonna get someone, and he gets someone, and Van Hammer, who stuck up for himself, then just gets squashed, and the crowd like loves it. And I'm like, I don't know, I would have done that story with someone else. Unless they were done with Van Hammer. I don't know how people were feeling about Van Hammer back then, but that looked like they were just completely done with Van Hammer. They wanted him to look like an idiot. Because he looks like an idiot.
Yeah, like like I think ever since that first fucking pay-per-view match he had with like Doug Summers, who did not make him look good, they just lost all faith
I
in
think
him.
I think some higher ups wanted to make him a big deal, and I think a lot of the wrestling is wrestling. I think they would have done this to Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, I told you what Ric Flair said. Oh, he wouldn't have lasted 2 minutes. We would have made him look like an idiot. And it's like, well, why would you make him look like an idiot? Because he's still making Vince McMahon money today. So actually, you're the fucking idiot. You know, you're the fucking idiot if you would have made. And I think the same thing with Van Hammer. Like maybe Van Hammer could have got over, but you constantly make him look like an idiot, so he didn't get over.
By the way, Colonel Robert Parker is a former wrestler Robert Fuller. I
Yeah,
was actually a fan of Colonel Parker. I thought it
I
was such
never
a
was.
I liked it because it was so cheesy. I liked it. Supposedly he's got a big one.
I know. Yeah, I do not like him, and I'll tell you what else I do not.
Jealousy, envy over the big one.
No, I do not like Sonny. Sonny, what's his name? What's his
Oh
name?
no,
Yes, I don't like that fucking guy either. That's another just really offensive, like fucking, just so like out of place.
stereotypical manager. Yeah,
Yeah, well, also he's. I feel like he's more racist than fucking Mr. Fuji.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right, Eric Bischoff. He is with Red Bastion and Bugsy McGraw, and it's Bugsy. It looks like it's Bugsy's first time on camera because he is just fucking walking around, making faces to the camera. He's constantly going out like he's walking around. And he also starts shitting on what Eric Bischoff. He goes, Eric's wearing too much makeup. Like it's like
yeah.
what the fuck? I don't know. I don't know who Bugsy McGraw is. I think did we watch a match? Did we watch pay per view with him in it? We may have.
I think so. The thing about Bugsy McGraw, he was big. He was big in a lot of the territories. He was a real territory guy. He's a real journeyman. He was never like, but he was like, I would say he is one of the territory guys. Like when you think about the and I think he just was he was trying to get over. He didn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a
Yeah,
fuck.
I based on this little promo, I fucking did not like this guy. I was like, why are you
He
being a dick, dude?
Because he's like, I got four. I'm never gonna be national TV ever again. I've got 2 minutes to get myself over. Hopefully, this will lead to something. So I'm just gonna go into business for myself. They're not gonna hire. He probably was like, if I stand here, they're not gonna do anything for me. If I stand here and be appropriate, they're not gonna do anything. If I act like an idiot, they probably also won't do anything. But maybe something will happen. Maybe Vince will hire me. I don't know.
Yeah. By
Let
the
me
way,
try to act
Bugsy
like an
McGraw,
idiot. Go to business for myself.
I
It
did
sucks.
not.
A lot of these old guys fucking annoyed me. Like I was like, shut the fuck. Like they all were not ready. You know what? Best thing you're having in wrestling, not Vince McMahon, was Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan, like, just fucking got rid of this shit real fucking fast. These
By the
guys,
way, Bugsy McGraw was in the first match of Starrcade 1983, which we reviewed, which shows you how memorable he is.
yeah.
Um, Match number 3, Dick Murdoch and Don Morocco and Jimmy Snuka versus Wahoo McDaniel, um, Blackjack Mulligan, and Jumpin' Jim Brazil. This will be the first of the three consecutive Legends matches. This is a six-man trios Legends match. We start off with Jimmy Snuka and Jim Brazil. They start the match, and then Murdoch, Dick Murdoch, who
Right.
looks the worst out of all six men. Looks the worst looking body of all six men. Still moves really, really well, including he
He
hits a
always had a
flying.
horrible body.
Yeah, he hits an amazing flying head scissors. And
Yeah.
Larry Zbyszko on commentary goes, "How did you get that stomach up so high?" Fucking had to laugh. It's a giant gut. Oh, it's so funny. It ends up breaking down, and everyone starts fighting, so they call it a draw. At the end of the match, Jimmy Snuka takes a very unnecessary, dangerous bump over the fucking top rope outside the ring. It was short. I liked it because it was just like it is what it is. It's a six-man. You get all the legends in there. It's a draw, and it was fun. It was short. That's why I didn't mind. I didn't mind. What about you?
I have news in a second, but first of all, let me just say this. I didn't like it. I don't know. First of all, I don't know if you noticed the crowd did not pop for Jimmy Snuka. They almost booed him. You could tell that they're still, because they were doing this at the Omni in Atlanta, which was like the stronghold of WCW and NWA. You could tell there's still some animosity to Jimmy Snuka because he's a New York guy. because they
Yes.
treat him like the enemy. But
Yes.
also, the other thing is, why would you bring in Jimmy Snuka? You're not going to have him do the Superfly Splash. And also, Jimmy Snuka was just like a year ago at the Survivor on the WWF pay-per-views. He's not like I didn't consider him old back then. You can actually probably use him as a real character. I don't know why he's there, and also the fact that there's no finish. Just like this is just a waste of time. This is just a waste of everyone's time. Like, give us a fucking finish.
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's like it was short, right?
Mhm.
And it goes with the theme of the show, which is like a Legends Union. So I was like, if this was the only Legends match they had on the show, I would be 100% okay with it. Unfortunately, it will not be.
It'll not
But
be. But
before we continue, what is this breaking news that you have for us?
so the ratings came in last night for AEW. I want you to guess what they got. They,
Okay,
they, they
they
promoted this
did
for
not break
weeks.
a million. They didn't break a million, but I'm gonna say it's in the what is it, 800?
It's in the low 800s.
It is low
Yeah,
800s.
yeah,
Um, what was it?
801. That's not good. A year ago, they did 852,000.
I know. I
Last week,
mean, uh, it's more than last week
last
because
week was 779. That's not that
yeah,
many.
yeah, 779. So
That's not.
it's a jump, but that's I was expecting at least
I
mid
expected
to
I expected it close to a million. I did. And I
close
mean,
to a
you know
million.
me.
No, I
You
didn't think
know
it.
me. I'm not a fucking. I'm fuck Tony Khan guy. I expected close to a million.
Yeah, that's
And the
true.
fact they did that I think, like I said, and this is why I saw it as sad. I thought it was a major mistake trying to copy the First Dance. I think a lot of people like me felt like that. A person like me, I was gonna watch, and then the second I had an opening to do anything else, I went and did it, which I would not have done for the First Dance. I literally told a woman I was starting to see that like our first date was the day of the First Dance, and she said, "Are you doing stand up tonight?" And I said no, and I explained to her why, and that's why there was no second date. But but you know what? Looking back, I still like if it's either like you get in a relationship with this girl or you watch the First Dance live, I still pick the First Dance. That's how effective that was. And I think people are, this is the thing. This is not against Sasha. I think people know that Tony's going to lose interest in this woman and she's going to go nowhere and she's going to be on Rampage like Paige is now on and I think people have figured him out.
Certainly a disappointing number.
Tony Khan's probably already sick of her. She's probably like, "Oh, why did I hire her? This is
Speaking
awful."
of disappointment, Missy Hyatt, she is doing her interview with Mad Dog Vachon and the Assassin, who is massive. This guy is humongous.
Yes.
And as Misty goes to talk to the assassin, Mad Dog Vachon just grabs the mic, saying he's not like she interviews, talks to Mad Dog first, and then she goes to talk to the assassin. He just grabs the mic and he goes, "I'm not done," and he just starts. He annoys the shit out of Missy. You could tell she was disappointed in this interview. And the assassin, when she finally goes talk to the assassin, he is just too fat for that mask. Like he is, this fat is like pouring out of his mask, right? And uh, it's like even the voice was like muffled by fat. It was a very disappointing interview, I thought.
Well, yeah, all these old guys. You can tell. Like I called it when I said the Doug Summer Van Hammer thing. You can tell all these old guys are just annoyed that they're not still working in the industry, that they don't have any more influence, that everything has passed them by. And the second they get a moment of camera time, they're going to go into business for themselves
Mhm.
and get themselves over to the detriment of everyone. And it
Yes.
doesn't make for good TV.
Huh? Now, match number 4 is going to be a Legends tag team match. And this is where I kind of had a problem with the show where they should have really spaced these Legends matches
Yes.
out.
Mhm.
Meaning like
Or
regular match,
started with them. Started with them.
like yeah, start off with a Legends match, regular match, Legends match, regular match, Legends match. That's it. But they decided to put like a whole, like almost like a whole hour block of Legends matches. Um, Legends match number 2, which is the fourth match, is a tag team match. Uh, Ivan Koloff, I think he's the Russian Nightmare, right?
Who also is blackballed by Vince because he held up the dad for more money.
Oh, and Baron von Raschke from AWA versus Thunderbolt Patterson, and his partner was supposed to be Bullet Bob Armstrong, but they say Bullet. There's no Bob Armstrong, so Thunderbolt says Bob's out, but I don't care. I'll fight you guys by myself. And the heels they start shitting on the Armstrongs, saying, "Yeah, the Armstrongs they stink all the time, anyways. Doesn't matter." And then Brad Armstrong comes down. He's Bullet Bob's son, and he goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! I'm still on the Armstrong. You're gonna shit on the Armstrongs? Well, I'm
And
gonna join this fight."
they're like, "Aren't you working in catering today? Like, why are you here?"
Yeah. So everyone's fighting at once, and the heels have to they take a breather. Uh, Patterson and Rashke they start the reset of the match, and Patterson keeps slipping out of the headlock that Rashke keeps putting him in, which really starts pissing off Rashke. I thought that was a very fun spot.
Can I
You
tell
know?
you something about Thunderbolt Patterson? He's
Yes.
the boogie woogie man done right.
Yeah, yeah, he's very charismatic, just moving and jiving a lot. The whole thing, by the way, the way it looks is Rasky puts him in a side headlock, and he keeps slipping out of it by wiggling out, and they just keep doing it. They did it like 5 times, and it doesn't sound good, but when you watch it, trust me, it's a lot. It's actually a lot. It's funny. It's a funny spot. Patterson eventually hits a double throat chop onto Von Raschke for the win. Once again, I did not have any problems with this Legends match. I thought it was entertaining for what it was. And it wasn't that long either. What did you think?
I like this was the best Legends match so far. Thunderbolt Patterson is the most over guy on the show, as up to this point, And it was nice to watch this match after seeing that announcement yesterday that he's going into the Hall of Fame because I think a guy like this thought he was never getting another day in the sun. And watching the people's reaction in Atlanta, I'm like, I kind of wish he was going in Atlanta. I don't know if he's going to be that over in Philly. But the fact that this guy who kind of thought the world forgot about me and, I had my little day and now I'm just a has-been, is going to get one more day and probably like on the biggest WrestleMania weekend ever, is nice. And he was kind of like he was doing the old school shit right. Like he was like doing the old school comedy shit right. And he really entertained me. And it was like a nice feeling to watch this guy and 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 to know like it's not over for him. He's got one more big day ahead. Dude,
Yeah.
he's gonna be a WrestleMania 40 and Vince McMahon. He's gonna be a WrestleMania 40 and Vince McMahon isn't. That's
Yeah, that's
fucking wild. And
poetic justice.
everyone's
Poetic
gonna give a fucking round of
justice.
applause. Good
Yep,
match.
absolutely. All right, the next thing we're gonna get is a Flair for the Gold segment. And Flair, they say they're gonna reunite the original Horsemen. That's how they advertise this. Flair comes on and Flair is speaking. You hear as he starts speaking, you hear someone say, "Hi, John."
So bad.
I think I could not figure who it was, but I'm thinking it was Larry Zbyszko saying hi to Johnny Valentine, who joined commentary later. And somebody maybe they just forgot to turn his mic
Yes,
on.
I
That's
think
what I
so.
think happened. It's very funny. It's very loud and it's just like it just comes out of nowhere. Flair first brings out. Remember, they're supposed to reunite the original Horsemen. Flair brings out Arn Anderson, who cuts a promo on Barry Windham because they're going to be having a match for the NWA title later on tonight. Flair goes like, "Don't drink, man. Drink after your match. Don't drink now," which is kind of fun. Flair then says Blanchard is not here, unfortunately. I know I know we were gonna reunite the original Horseman, but I can't bring out Blanchard. He's not here. But I'm gonna bring out Ole instead. He brings out Ole, and Ole says Barry
Ollie
Windham.
looks so out of place in a suit. 1 second. Yeah, Ollie looks insane in a suit.
Yeah, he does. And Ole, he says Barry Windham got to Tully, which is why he's not here tonight. I like Tully in the sense that he he always try to do like this continuity thing, And it's like, do you ever see?
Yeah.
Ole Anderson recently passed away. He passed away like last week, right? Or 2 weeks
Yeah,
ago?
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
2 weeks ago. So a lot of people were posting that infamous promo he did on turning on Dusty Rhodes. And if you listen to it, what made it so good is that Ole explains everything, like every little nuance, like why he turned. and everything made sense. And I think he was really good at that, like that keeping that continuity of things going, making it realistic, explaining things, and not just ignoring things. And I like that he does that.
Yeah, that's one of the only good things. The only things he's good for. Yes.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Flair brings out a special guest. It's the newest member of the Four Horsemen. It is Paul Roma, who actually gets some booze when he comes out.
Yeah, because nobody wanted to see him, bro. Like he stinks of failure.
He cuts a promo which gets no reaction at all. It's a huge letdown, and Flair calls out the blondes. Hey, Hollywood blondes, I'm going to get you. And that is how the segment ends. Your thoughts on this segment, Paul Roma, etc.
I mean, how do you do a night like this? You don't give Ric Flair a match. He's become fucking the barbershop. You know, Fifi is his current wife. Like they weren't together back then, but they got together years later. They've been
Yeah,
together.
yeah. Fifi, didn't they divorce already?
I think they're back together again.
Ugh.
Who else gonna put up with the Nature Boy at this point? The crowd wasn't happy. They wanted the Horsemen. They wanted Tully. They wanted and it felt very much like we're gonna give you what you want. We're gonna give you this thing that you imagine. Like Roman Reigns goes, the Shield's. You know what? I'm gonna reunite the Shield at the next pay per view, including John Moxley. He's gonna be here. Like we got him. He's coming, right? And you get to the pay per view and he's like, well, Cody got to Moxley. He's gonna stay in AEW, but instead here's the newest member of the Shield, Austin Theory. Like Sammy Guevara is the new member of the Shield.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, then why did you even do this? And they don't stay on it. Like, it should be like this big triumphant moment. Like, Flair's back and WCW, and now the Horsemen are back. And instead, it's just like, who gives a shit? Like, this guy was getting squashed by Marty Jannetty a year ago. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, no, it was a huge letdown, which is probably why he got some booze. Absolutely. It was a letdown, and yeah, Ric Flair should have been wrestling. When I was a kid and I was watching Flair for the Gold and stuff, I
Mhm.
was confused. I was so confused because I was like, keep in mind, I'm a kid and I had just seen this guy just be a heel in WWF, and now he's like a good guy, but he's not even wrestling. And
Yeah,
I
I thought
couldn't
he was
understand.
retiring.
Yeah, I couldn't understand why. I was like, yeah, I thought like maybe he is done wrestling. I was like, oh, this guy must have he's just done. He's no longer retired. He retired. So when you retire, everyone kind of forgives you, and that's why
And then you
like
become like a goofy talk show host. Yeah, they
yeah,
praise people.
that's what I thought happened. It was very weird. By the way, him and Fifi they did separate, but since 2022 they have reconciled. They are still together today.
The Nature Boy. Woo!
Johnny Valentine, he has joined Larry Zbyszko and Tony Schiavone on commentary, and they're getting ready to call the fifth match. It is the Legends singles match. Remember, so if you're keeping score, we had three Legends matches. The first one was a six-man, second one was a tag team match, and now this is a singles match. And it is Dory Funk Jr. with Gene Kaninsky versus Nick Bockwinkel with Vern Gagne from the AWA. They're building this as like a
NWA versus
NWA
AWA.
AWA dream match. Yes. Larry mentions on commentary that he was the last AWA champion.
I know that.
He actually retired Nick Bockwinkel and says that if this match was happening in the heydays, oh, I'm partial, but I think the AWA would come out on top and beat NWA. And he's saying this to kind of generate some kind of reaction from both guys because Johnny Valentine's like an NWA. He gets no reaction. Everybody just ignores him. I was like, what? Nick Bockwinkel slams Dory Funk a bunch of times, so Dory takes a breather outside. Then Nick once again beats on Dory Funk, and Gene Kaninsky pulls Nick off of Dory, and he gets chased around the ring into the ring and then back out. And I'm like, he's gonna just keep doing these shenanigans, this Gene Kaninsky, which at first it was annoying, but then I was like, you know what? He knows how boring of matches is. He's trying to keep it entertaining. So I give him credit for that. Dory Funk starts getting an advantage and hits a suplex, a pile driver, and puts on the spinning toe hold, but Nick counters into a cradle. Nick puts on the figure four, and Kaninsky runs in and stomps on Nick. When there's 30 seconds left in the match, there is no DQ. Instead, it goes to a draw, a 15-minute draw. This was a 15-minute match. I hated this. This was, if you're gonna do a draw, you gotta do it like that Legend 6-man match, where it's like very quick. That match was like maybe 4 minutes, dude. Right? That's why I didn't mind it so much. It's like a 4-minute match. If you're gonna do a
This
draw,
was
do it like a
brutal.
4 minute thing.
Look, these guys were doing a really. This is the thing. This was the problem with putting Chris Benoit on so early. Benoit is showing you that this shit is evolving really fast, right? And then
Yes.
you put these two guys on, and they do a match that would not have been even acceptable in 1984, let alone fucking 1993. And it's a great match. I think people would have been on the edge of their seat in 1975, this type of match. It doesn't work in 93. And if you're gonna do this, and if you're gonna say AWA versus NWA, give a fucking finish. Like, what does it matter who wins and loses this thing? You know, they're both like, and if they didn't want to like lose to one another, don't do the match. You have a bunch of like young guys in the back. Fucking, I don't know, have Ricky Morton fight fucking, I don't know, fucking Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker. I don't know, like just like, you know what I mean? Give like
Yeah,
some
and you know
screen
what?
time.
I wouldn't have a problem with this match if it wasn't so fucking long.
Or if it had a
You know?
finish.
Yeah, and if like I'm saying, like, if you can't do a finish, then you got to make it short. But if you're gonna do if you're gonna keep it this long, you better have a finish. That's why I'm agreeing with you. If you're gonna do 15 minutes, if you're gonna go over 5 minutes, your match better have a fucking finish. You know?
Honestly, it felt like the only guy willing to do a job out of all these old people was Baron von Raschke. He was the only one willing to look stupid, and that's why he had the best match, and that's why he got to do a spot on AEW a few years ago, and he got a huge pop. Remember that? He did
Yeah,
the
yeah, I
fall.
remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
because you know
and
what? It's
people,
like Baron Rasky is like the only one who understands this is not real, and
yeah,
like I get it. Long time ago, when you're an active wrestler, you don't want a job because it's gonna discredit you. But at this point, none of you guys are wrestling full time, so why does it fucking matter that your
yeah,
job?
and you know, and Dory Funk's a great wrestler. I mean, he trained a lot of the guys, but like this doesn't do the. You know what's crazy? So they said that in '75, Bockwinkel won his first AWA title, and '74, Dory Funk won the title. Do you know, like, if they did today, the TNA champ of 2004 versus the Ring of Honor champ of 2005, it'd be AJ Styles versus CM Punk. They did this match. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That is.
Yeah, and like those guys are still they're not retired or anything. They're still like going at it.
Yeah, it's still no. That must have been a huge. But I think maybe those guys would have been. Um, they're older. They're clearly older than AJ
No, I know.
Styles.
I know, but like it's just crazy how like because like it sounds so even like now 73, 75 sound like ancient times in terms of wrestling, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And but if you think about it, it's not that long ago from 93, but like 2004 and 2005 feel like yesterday for us, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And thankfully, this will be the last fucking Legends match we're gonna see tonight. Eric Bischoff, he is with Luthez, Bob Geigel, to ask them their thoughts about the show so far. And if I was on this, if I was a legend on this show, let me tell you something. I would dress poorly because everybody's wearing a suit. I would have been like dressed up like a hobo. I think I would have stood out. That's the only
I
way
think
to
you would
stand
have.
out. Yeah. Let's go move right along to match number 6. It is Rick Rude and Paul Orndorff. We get a brand new Rude theme song, which sounds great. I love it. And they're going to be taking on Dustin Rhodes and Kensuke Sasaki. Sasaki and Rude, they start, but when Dustin comes into the ring with Rick Rude, it really picks up until he goes over the top rope into the floor. The fans start chanting Paula as Rude beats on Dustin until, remember, this is Paula for Paul Orndorff. And then Dustin reverses a pile driver of his own. But Paul Orndorff comes in and, but Dustin Rhodes is able to hot tag in Sasaki, and Sasaki reverse atomic drops Rude. That gets a very good reaction. Rude breaks up, by the way, on the atomic drop. You hear a faint whoop, there it is chant as we
Oh, that was
start.
great.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, if you guys are curious why, Whoop There It Is a song from the group called the Tag Team. And the song was released just a few weeks before this pay per view, which would be on, it was released on May 7th, 1993. So just a few weeks before the pay per view. And it becomes a humongous hit. So people are chanting, Whoop There It Is. That's really funny. The chant does end though, as Paul Orndorff pushes Sasaki off the top rope into a rude awakening for Rick Rude and Paul Orndorff to win. What did you think about match number 6?
It was okay. For some reason I could never get into it. Rick Rude is missing something, man. I know it's his life. He's dead, but besides that, he I don't know. He's just not the same that he was in WWE. I don't know what it is.
I'll be the manager.
No, in the ring, he just and it's so funny because everybody says they like this run more than the WWF run. I just don't. I don't
No,
know.
I like the WWF run better. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree with you. Something's missing.
it was okay. Like I kind of feel like this show never recovers from that fucking Nick Bockwinkel match. It just never recovers.
Uh, I disagree. I kind of disagree. I thought this match was well, yeah, this match was just okay. That's my thoughts on this match. But what I mean, I disagree with the part about the show never recovers.
I
It's
kind of
not.
wish they would. Also, I wish they would stop putting Dustin in tag matches. Can this guy just fucking have some?
Dustin's really good.
I know. Can he just have like some one-on-one matches? Like, why can't they do Rick Rude, Dustin Rhodes one-on-one?
Yeah, this match only picks up when Dustin Rhodes gets in there.
Yeah,
It's just like he's just so charismatic. There's a reason why that nickname you guys might hear and be like, "Oh, that's such fucking
the
that's fucked
natural.
up nickname," but it actually works, man. There's a reason why he's called himself natural because he is really fucking good. And I agree he shouldn't be in tag team matches, but I can't also say that this is a bad match because he's good in it. Rude's all right. Paul Orndorff's all right. Sasuke's okay in this, so it's all right. It's not falling off. The show hasn't fallen off a cliff. It's still watchable. So
Uh,
Gordon, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
No. Yeah. No, for me, I don't know. There's something about this match. I was like, okay, but keep going.
Gordon Soley, he is in the ring and he's going to be introducing the WCW Hall of Fame inductees. The crowd is really, really like boisterous, and they're kind of agitated and stuff, and it's throwing Gordon Soley off. This is the
Because
first time I'm
they don't give a shit about this. They want to see their guys.
yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing Gordon Soley a bit off. He's like telling the audience, "Hey, come here, guys!" Like, you know what it reminded me of? Do you remember that time Tony Khan had to come out to the audience
Yes, the
and
CM Punk Raw. I
tell him
mean,
CM Punk was out, right? And the crowd's like really turning, and he's just like, "Oh, okay." Like that's what Gordon was like. It was not. It was just he looked awful down there. So they start with these are the inductees. Okay, it is Buddy Rogers. They talk about actually. I'm sorry. They mentioned a bunch of past legend wrestlers who have passed away.
mhm.
It is Buddy Rogers, Andre the Giant, Pat O'Connor, Gene Anderson, Dick the Bruiser, Wilbur Schneider, and one more later that they said they're going to announce, and they asked for a moment of silence. Then they also tell us that the Hall of Fame is going to be in the CNN complex. Is that still around?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Wow.
it is. Yeah.
I wonder if you could go there and see.
The Hall of Fame. No, I don't think the Hall of Fame is still around. I don't think they ever did it. I think
Oh,
the
they said
CNN complex still around.
Oh, because they said that's what Gordon said. He's going to say the Hall of Fame is going to be in the CNN complex. And
No.
here are the inductees: Luthez, Vern Gagne, who does get some booze not because he's AWA, and Mr. Wrestling 2 and Eddie Graham, but Eddie Graham, who was the person who has passed away also before, because he's passed away, they have Mike Graham accepting it on his behalf. Afterwards, she is with James Bleer and Mr. John Tolis, who used to be the coach with Mr. Perfect. And Tolis gives a rah-rah WCW promo, and Blair basically says, "Yeah, Tolis said it all," and that is how that Hall of Fame segment ends. Any thoughts before we move on?
Nobody cares about this. And I think they only did this because Vince announced. So Vince in January, when Andre Giant dies, says we're starting a Hall of Fame, and Andre's the first one in. And I think they were like, well, Vince only announced one guy. We're going to announce a bunch of guys and say we're going to put it in the fucking CNN center and da da da. But nobody cares. It's hard also to care about these guys because you can't watch their shit.
Yeah.
And it's just like they're like these. You tell me how great they are, but back then WCW didn't put out VHS tapes. They didn't like at least WWF like when they put out their videotapes in the 80s that you could still rent in the 90s, there was stuff that like this is why Gorilla Monsoon's so great. This is why Bruno Sammartino's so great. So like you saw it. So like when they tell you like these guys are legends, you're like, oh yeah, I believe it because I saw some shit, right? Like here's a Hogan match, here's Gorilla when in his prime, here's fucking Junkyard Dog jerking off in a trash can. Like they like mixed it in so you would understand. So when they told you like the W like I don't know who these guys are. Like I know now, but I'm a kid in '93. I just want to fucking see Sting. What are you doing?
Yeah. And let's go right into match number 7. This is a bounty match. That means someone put a bounty on Sting, and that's who his opponent is. It's Sting versus the unknown opponent, which ends up being the Prisoner. And it
Nails.
Nails from WWF. People start chanting "Boss Man" at him. Boss Man, Boss Man. Nails begins by choking Sting a whole bunch of times. Chokes Sting with some cords on the outside. After some wrestling, Nails grabs the referee, and then as he turns into Sting, who's on the top row, hits him with a flying clothesline for the win. A very quick match as well. What do you think about match number 7? Nails versus Sting.
Nails just doesn't have it, buddy. It's
Oh, he's
a
awful.
wrap. Um, I remember Eric Bischoff talked about this. He's like, we just wanted an ex WWF guy and he was around, so we brought him in. Like,
He just wanted an ex WWF guy, and he was around.
and I feel like that's how every company is run. I feel like that's every fucking decision that Eric has made, Tony Khan has made, Dixie Carter has made. The only one who probably didn't think like that was Kerry Silken. But everyone else is like, there's an ex WWF guy. Put him on. Let him fucking
Yeah.
sting.
And the Ring of Honor, by the way, he had. Yeah, you're right. They're the only ones. I mean, they would bring them in, but they would kind of like make them their own. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
I
I mean,
agree.
obviously, if like Randy Orton quit in 2006 and said the Ring of Honor I want to come in, they would have fucking bent over backwards to get him in. But they
Yeah,
weren't like thinking like that all the time. They built people up themselves.
absolutely. Yeah. So Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko, they start talking as they start putting up the cage for the next match, and Bischoff is with the Crusher, who shouts out his grandchildren and says he wants to fight Ox Baker one more time. They say Crusher had, Eric is saying, Crusher, they say you have the more cage matches than anyone else. And he starts calling Ox Baker a dumb ox and a bum. And Ox is just kind of like ignoring all this and starts bear hugging Eric Bischoff, saying, "Oh, I love it. I love it." And then the segment ends with Crusher putting a cigar out in Ox Baker's eye. I thought this was, out of all the Legends segments, this one was the best one. It was funny. It was just so goofy. I liked it.
Yeah, well, Crusher has a lot of like everyone loves the Crusher. And I watched some old stuff of his, and it's actually really good. Crusher's the guy who got it. I think he would have been over now if he was around now, he'd be over. So
I think David Letterman was a big fan of the
yes, he
Crusher.
was. Yes, he kept the Crusher going because he would bring him up a lot to this day. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's kept the Crusher. People that are fans of him are really big fans of him. He has a statue in his hometown.
Did you ever hear that Crusher song?
No.
Um, there's a song that a band did about the Crusher, and I think it's not like a great song, but it's kind of fun to listen to. So if you get a chance,
Yeah,
song,
he's like kind of like a folk hero, the Crusher.
yeah, yeah, he's just like a fun character. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to match number 8. It's a steel cage match for the tag team titles. Ricky Steamboat and Shane Douglas, they come out dressed as Dos Hombres. Full mask, full gear, covered up like the Mexican flag colors. And Ricky Steamboat gets in the microphone. He says, "Hey guys, dress like Dos Hombres. They gave us good luck last time, so we're gonna do it again." And the reason why they're doing this is actually because I think Shane Douglas is actually out, and it is gonna be Z-Man who's under that mask. But everyone's gonna
Oh, that's why they never. Okay.
Yeah, and everyone's gonna pretend it's Shane Douglas, but it's Z-Man.
Fucking. By the way, I remember as a kid hating this match. Like this match when I was younger, when I think I bought this. I bought this pay-per-view on VHS at Sunco for like $8. Remember Sunco? Sunco's
Yeah,
the
yeah. I mean, Sunco's. You mean the gas station?
no Sun. It was the sort of sold VHS tapes in the mall. Suncoast.
Oh yeah.
So I had this and I watched this. I remember and I remember when it got to this match, I felt like this match was like 5 hours long. And it was one of the worst matches I've ever seen. And you know what? I was right. This was not a good match anyway. But when I saw them in that stupid outfit, I was like, I hate this. I hate this.
Oh, I'm gonna have to disagree. So anyway, Ricky Steamboat, Shane Douglas, they're gonna be fighting the champions, the Hollywood Blondes. And before this match begins, they show two mobsters watching. Who are these two fucking guys?
I don't know.
They showed these two mobster guys just watching, like, oh, who are those guys checking them out? And then they never referred back to them again. Anyways, Steve Austin and Ricky Steamboat, they start, and then Shane Douglas, he back body drops Austin way too close to the ropes, and Austin lands like half on the ropes, half on the canvas. It looks devastating. Everybody gets shot. They're just like, oh shit. It looked like it killed, like it looked like he landed like on his neck or something. It was awful. What a bump. Both the blondes, they're taking tremendous amounts of bumps into the cage, including Austin getting hung upside down from the top of the cage by his legs. I've never seen this before. Just, where he's hanging by his legs upside down in the cage. And one of the hombres, he goes to like crossbody him into the cage, like sandwich him between the cage and him crossbody. But right when he's like about to hit him, Austin slips off and they make this weird, awkward collision. That was also devastating. People are just like, whoa, shit. Austin gets mooned and then he gets fucking like electric chair drop. And then
Yeah.
Pillman gets crotched on the ropes. The bonds are just bumping all over the place. Ricky Steamboat climbs to the top of the cage and he unmasks and he does a diving crossbody off the top, kind of like Jimmy Snuka, onto both the blondes for a 2 count. But the bell rings and the refs all mad. He's like, no, I only made 2. The match continues with a series of near falls, but Austin is able to stun gun one of the hombres for the win. I really like this match. This was a good match. It's Steve Austin's really good. Takes some man, before Owen breaks his neck, he's a fucking fantastic wrestler.
Into this.
Pillman's good. They're both taking really good bumps. Z-Man, I know people shit on Z-Man. He's a really good
Z-Man's good. I mean,
yeah.
Z-Man,
I like this match. I don't know why. I don't know what you didn't like about this match.
I just felt it was boring. And I don't like the outfits.
Yeah, but it's good. I can't believe you think it's boring. This was not a boring match.
I think
This is a good match. This is one of those matches I would recommend people watch. That was good.
really.
Anyway,
Yeah. Maybe I can't get over how I felt as a kid, but I just thought.
I get it that their outfits are throwing people off. I get that, but if
I look past the outfits, maybe I gotta rewatch it. I don't know.
past the outfits, you see some of the shit Austin is doing, where he's hanging upside down from the cage. That bump, that crazy back body drop he takes, like it's amazing. Some of the stuff he does is amazing.
I mean, look, fucking Austin is fucking great. He always is great, but I don't know. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah. All right, so Eric Bischoff, he is with Dusty Rhodes, Mr. Wrestling 2, Stu Hart. And Dusty says, hey, I heard that the assassin called me out before. Well, I'm still here. Come and get me, which gets a really big pop from the audience. Mr. Wrestling 2 just thanks them for having this show in their honor and just having him there. Stu Hart says he's got 8 kids, and one of them is married to Davey Boy Smith, so he's like the father-in-law. I don't like the cat. And
no, I have to shut up.
I don't like that cat. And he that's your cat, yeah. And Stu Hart says he hopes that his son-in-law, Davey Boy Smith, can beat Vader tonight. Stu is almost as big as Vader in this. He's fucking fat.
Stu liked his cookies.
Yeah, his gut was humongous. Before we get to that, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Stu. I was surprised that the WWF was cool with Stu being on this because, he's at SummerSlam in a few months. I think he's at King of the Ring, and the big Jerry Lawler angles where he shits on him the whole time.
He was already featured on WWF TV a bunch of pay-per-views a bunch of
Yeah, I'm
times already.
surprised that but maybe Vince is like, what is? Sometimes Vince is like, what does this matter? Just go do it. Like,
Yeah, yeah. What does this really matter? Actually, I agree. Um, we're gonna get to that match later, but before that, we have match number 9, the penultimate match. It is for the NWA title. Arn Anderson versus Barry Windham, champion. Sign says Wyndham is smoking, and it is in green and yellow colors. This is like one full year before the actual The Mask movie will come out, which also features the line smoking and in yellow and green colors. Really kind of a lot of foretelling right there. I just thought that was really interesting, in my
yeah.
opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Arn Anderson, he hits a side belly to belly right away at the start for a close 2 count. And when he doesn't get the win, Arn Anderson really shows disappointment in not winning. Like, oh, I was so close. And Larry talks about how this is what you got to do. You got to fucking try to catch your opponent off guard. And I was like, man, people don't do this anymore. Like, just like that really quick, like, cover, and then just like, oh, I was so close, and just get so showing the emotion of so disappointed in being not being like you were so close, like that. And the commentators calling about it, like, man, just trying to catch your opponent off. Sometimes that's how you win. And people don't do that anymore, which I wish they did. That was really fantastic.
Yeah.
Barry Windham right hands Arn really fucking hard. And Arn Anderson answers back with a DDT. On the apron, Arn Anderson slingshots Barry over the top to the floor. The commentator's question is, should this be a DQ? Which is much better than what Jim Ross ever did, because Jim Ross just ignored it. But this is where this is like an example of how good Larry Zbyszko and Tony Schiavone were in commentary. Larry and Tony, they start questioning and they argue that technically Arn Anderson, he's on the apron outside the ring. So he's not inside the ring, and he's throwing Barry, and he didn't throw Barry over the top rope. He just kind of like, like momentum did in. So, that's legal. And I was like, you know what? That's a good explanation of why it was allowed to continue and not be a DQ. And I just like shit like that. Arn Anderson slams Barry's head on the rail and he starts bleeding, just gushing blood. It is a lot of blood. Arn Anderson goes up on top, but Barry Windham drop kicks him off the top rope and Arn goes all the way down to the floor. Arn gets beat on and beat up, but eventually hits a spine buster. But Barry Windham rolls outside the ring and he just takes his belt and he leaves. And in the ring, Arn shoves the referee down and he goes out and he goes after Barry Windham and throws him over the top rope back into the ring because he wants that belt. He's not taking a count on victory. The ref keeps getting in the way, so Arn shoves him down once again, but this time it was really hard. So Arn is like, "Ah, oh, shit, I don't want to get DQ for this." So he starts checking on the referee. Right when he's doing that, Barry Windham, he gets the belt and he hits him with the belt for the win. This was a fantastic match. I
Yeah,
like
this is
this
pretty
match.
good. This I liked
Yeah.
a lot. This is Arn Anderson's only title shot, world title shot ever. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was a really good match. And Wyndham's great as the heel champion, and Wyndham's another guy. Dude, he's gonna be a 2-time Hall of Famer. That's a rare air. That's only Hogan,
Ric Flair.
Sean Waltman, Ric Flair, Booker T, Bret Hart, and now Barry Windham. That's kind of crazy if you think about it,
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, this was a really fun. But I think Barry Windham deserves it. You watch matches like this and like, you know what? This guy never really got his proper flowers. Let him have 2 fucking Hall of Fame rings. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And we're gonna go to our 10th and final match. It's for the WCW World Title. Davey Boy Smith versus Big Van Vader, the champion, who comes down with Harley Race. Vader is much bigger than Davey Boy Smith. Davey Boy Smith, even though he's got all that muscle, he is short.
Yeah.
And Vader just starts.
Vader.
Yeah, Vader starts clubbing Davey Boy to no effect, right? Davey's like, he's like no selling it to show that he's got some strength. And Vader, he doesn't fucking like that. So he starts really clobbering and peppering fucking Davey with some real stiff shots that actually brings Davey down to his knee. And then when Davey goes outside, Harley gives him a stiff shot as well. And but when Vader goes to do a splash outside, Davey moves out of the way, and Vader goes over the fucking rail, and he comes back out, and there's all this debris stuck all over his back. Davey Boy Smith vertical suplexes Vader to a big reaction. Vader's a huge dude, and for him to vertical suplex him, that was amazing. But he runs into a big boot. As Vader comes off the second turnbuckle, Davey catches him and turns it into a power slam and clotheslines Vader outside the ring once again, which sends the crowd bonkers, and they get into another "whoop, there it is" chant. That's how excited they were. It was amazing. That showed a lot of power by Davey. Vader fucking hates that song though. So he fucking Samoan drops Davey Boy Smith to shuts everybody up. And he drops an elbow to Davey Boy Smith's balls like twice. And then Vader starts going to work on Davey, which causes Davey to have a nosebleed. Eventually, Davey Boy Smith pushes Vader off the top and headbutts him to regain some offense. But Vader does a top rope splash on Davey, and then he screams, "Shit! Ah!" As he starts holding onto his chest. Did he hurt himself in that splash?
He must have. He must have. Yeah.
Yeah. It was loud. He's like, "Shit!" Ah! Vader sends Davey outside, and fucking Harley Race drops a knee on him as Vader tries to recover from some kind of sternum pain that he ran into. Davey Boy Smith is able to hold Vader up, and an electric chair drop him for the comeback. And now it's his turn to start clobbering on Vader. He hits his power slam, but Harley pulls Davey outside the ring and attacks him. But Davey fucking starts beating on Harley Race, and then Vader attacks Davey with a fucking looks like a fucking high school chair for the DQ finish. After the match, Vader throws Davey back into the ring, and Bagwell comes in, just gets boom annihilated by Vader and thrown out. And then Tuco comes in, he meets the same fate, but then Sting comes out and he beats Vader off, and a bunch of dudes with fucking blonde mullets come in. I don't know who they were, but that is how that match ends. Even though the ending was fucking stupid, it was an okay match. I can't say it was a bad
match. It was all right. They don't really have the chemistry that like Sting and Vader have, or Vader will have with Ric Flair down the road, or Cactus Jack. It was okay, but when you watch this match, like Davey Boy's not ready to be the guy. I don't think he would ever. He's a good role player, but he was never meant to be the guy. And they're trying to make him the guy in this match. And it's not working when you have Flair, you have Sting, you have Austin, you have Dustin Rhodes, you have Vader, you have all these people that I think are way more equipped to be the face of WCW and not the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith.
But it was fun, and afterwards, they have Magnum and Eric Bischoff. They recap what happened, and they end with Vern Gagne saying, "This is WCW. They got a lot of real talent. This is the king of pro wrestling here." I disagree with that, but okay. I like this pay-per-view. It wasn't bad.
I didn't like it.
There's a lot of good matches in this. I would say that the two
skip the legend stuff. Maybe watch the Thunderbolts Patterson match if you want to see what that guy's about. Because a lot of younger fans yesterday were like, I love people write on Twitter, who is this? Why don't you just fucking Google, the guy's name, and you can find out who the fuck he is. But if you want to see what Thunderbolt Patterson was like and why people liked him, watch this. And if you're in a real WCW mood, skip the legend matches and just watch the second half of the card. So.
Yeah, there's some matches you can 100% skip, but I liked the opening match, right, with Too Cold and Chris Benoit. I liked the steel cage match with Austin was in. I liked the Dustin match. I liked the Vader Bulldog. I thought it was a fun match. There's a lot of matches. The Arn versus Barry
That's a great match.
Yeah. There's so
and
much.
Don't forget about you did mention Benoit and Buff Bagwell. So.
Yeah, there's so much on this show that I don't like hate. That I would say if you're just like if you want to watch like a WCW pay-per-view one day, this would be a good one. That's fine.
Yeah. All right. So let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week, it's the end of Hulkamania.
Uh-oh.
As during 93, Hulk Hogan versus Yokozuna. Then in 2 weeks, it is Beach Blast 93, where we have British Bulldog and Sting versus Sid and Vader. And then after that, we go to SummerSlam 93, where it's Lex Luger versus Yokozuna. And then we have the first ever Full Brawl 93, where that's where they put War Games now. And the main event of that is Team Vader versus Team Sting. What are you looking
Mhm.
for?
I like King of the Ring. I've always I watched, so I'm excited for that. What about you? What are you excited for?
I'm excited to watch that pay-per-view. I've never seen it. That Hogan match mortified me and killed my interest for 5 years. The
Wow.
finish of that match killed my.
Wow.
I also think Hogan is different after that match. He's even when he goes back to WWE, it's not the same. And I also kind of feel we'll talk about more about this next week. This is the end of like the Federation Hulkamania year. So the era from 84 to 90 ends on this show, and the new generation starts on this show. That era starts.
Mm.
So
So it
it's
looks like we're both looking forward to next week, King of the Ring 1993.
Yeah, so we'll see you then. Guys, if you enjoyed the show, please subscribe on YouTube. Also, please subscribe to the podcast, the audio feed, write a review, leave us some comments. Follow us. That's Andrew Son of Lee on Instagram. I'm Ray Goots on Instagram. And also I'm on X as Ray Goots and Ray Goots Comedy on TikTok. Follow me now before they ban us. So yeah, that's everything on the banning TikTok, Andrew D. Bro. That's everything. And we'll see you next week for the first ever King of the Ring. We'll see you then. Bye bye, guys. We will see
Bye.
you then.